It's a very easy concept to grasp. Eating less and moving more is quite literally how you're going to lose weight. Calories in versus calories out. How many calories are you bringing in? How many calories are you putting in your body on a daily basis? And how going on YouTube? It's Jim, and today I'm going to go over every single thing that helped me lose 155 pounds. A quick intro. I've literally been overweight for my entire life. I've always been the biggest person inside of every single room. Getting back from school, I was always the biggest person in my class. When I ballooned up to almost 400 pounds in college, I was the biggest person I saw on campus. In any room that I ever walked into, I would always kind of compare, and I was always the biggest person in every single room. And now I'm the guy that's turned the corner, trying to teach what I've learned and try to share and help and inspire others. I don't want to hold anything back. I'm truly passionate about just trying to be able to help as many people as possible get out of my situation. Deciding to lose the weight has been the best decision I've ever made in my entire life. I'm just extremely passionate about helping others, sharing my story, trying to share and give every single piece of advice that I possibly can. I think what makes me and my information unique versus some of the others you'll see on YouTube is just the reality that I'm still a fat guy that's trying to lose weight. I don't have a PhD. I'm not a meathead. I'm not on steroids. I'm not on any sort of juice. I'm literally just an average guy. I work an average 9-to-5 job. Again, I've been overweight my entire life. Like, I'm nobody special. I'm by no means a special person. I'm literally just somebody that decided to make a change. I want to show others that it's that simple. It's literally just making a change. With that being said, let's get into today's video. I'm going to go over 5 topics. I'm going to break them down. Understanding these 5 things by far helped me the most in losing 155 pounds. I think this is the best advice I can possibly give for somebody in my shoes or somebody in a similar situation of exactly how to lose weight. The first thing I want to discuss is intermittent fasting. So this is something that I've actually been doing for a while. So I've had a series of failed journeys in the past. And one thing that I did pick up pretty early on was intermittent fasting. So it's something that my body was able to get used to very quickly. And even when I fell out of my diet and I got back up to over 300 pounds, I was still able to intermittent fast. It's something that once your body gets used to it, you really don't want food in the morning. So that's just a change that honestly was pretty easy for me to make. And it's something I've been able to stick with for years. If you're eating first thing in the morning, I think that's a great habit to break. There are many health benefits outside of just the weight loss. It's also been known to reduce insulin sensitivity, among some other things. The biggest thing with weight loss is, at the end of the day, if you're intermittent fasting, if you're not eating, if you're stretching that first meal of the day, you're going to be able to lower your eating window. So quite literally, you're going to be having less time to eat, less time to stuff your face, to put it that lightly. So if you're typically used to waking up now at 7 o'clock in the morning, and the first thing you do is eat, probably something processed and sugary. You have to get that thought out of your mind. Think about pushing that first meal to like 11, 12 noon, even farther if you can. And now think about your current eating window, which is probably something like 7 in the morning to like 10 o'clock at night. Now think about reducing your eating window to something like noon to 8 o'clock. Now you only have 8 hours to eat versus this entire day to eat. And this is something that your body's going to get extremely used to. You're not going to want to eat foods outside of that window. You're not going to be hungry at 7 in the morning when you start doing this. Your body is going to be trained to want that first meal at around noon or whenever you typically break that fast. And you're not really going to be hungry outside of that hours. Your body likes rhythm. Your body likes repetitiveness. Once you get this system going, it's really hard for you to fall out of it, able to reduce that eating window. The second thing I want to discuss, I think this is one I discuss a lot, and it's 10K steps a day. I think this is a big one. I think people want to debate this one a lot. We'll touch on this at the end in point number 5, but listen, diet is extremely, extremely important. It's 80 or 90% of the game. You can quite literally do 0 steps a day and you can shred weight. It's absolutely possible. However, I don't think it's easy and I don't think it's sustainable. So walking 10,000 steps a day really kind of acts as twofold, kind of similar to intermittent fasting. It's literally going to reduce your eating window in the sense of, if you're going out every single day and you're extremely disciplined and your primary focus is getting those 10,000 steps a day, in that time where you're actually getting those steps in, you're not eating. You're not going to be doing 10,000 steps with a chocolate bar. You're going to go to the park, or you're going to go on your walking pad or the gym, and you're going to be doing 10,000 steps a day. You're going to be drinking water. It's actually a great thing. You're going to be drinking more water. That alone is going to be a part of your day where you're not eating. So you bake that in with the intermittent fasting. So now you're intermittent fasting, and even so, we can combine the two where you're intermittent fasting and you're also doing fasted cardio. So you wake up, you go throughout your day, you haven't even ate yet. you're getting your steps in, and the intermittent fasting are going hand in hand. Again, if possible, if you're able to, perhaps on the weekends, and you have that lowered eating window from intermittent fasting. Again, your window is already now like 12 to 8 versus like 8 to 8. So your window is reduced, it's 12 to 8. And now in that 12 to 8 window, you're also going to also be getting steps in that window, which is just farther going to reduce the time that you literally have to eat. The biggest thing as well with walking is it's not going to spike your hunger. It's not going to cause crazy appetite increases. It's not going to cause serious harm on your body. I've been doing 10,000 steps a day since I was almost 400 pounds. There's other channels on YouTube of people that are 500 or 600 pounds. They're doing it. They don't have excuses. You shouldn't either. 1,000 steps a day is something that is extremely, extremely achievable if you set your mind to it and you're disciplined and you work towards it every single day. I think the biggest thing as well is being consistent with those 10,000 steps a day is really going to help you build discipline. I talked about this in one of my other videos where it takes about 66 days to build a habit. If you can be disciplined in getting those steps in, your steps and your diet are kind of going to go hand in hand. If you're consistently working out, you're consistently doing your cardio, you're consistently getting your steps in. If you're consistently getting your steps in, you're less likely to want to cheat on your diet. You're working hard, you're going out there every single day, you're doing these 10,000 steps. It's just a Twinkie, processed food or processed garbage, like such less appealing options and something that you really don't even want to touch when you're getting those steps in. So by doing the steps, I think that you're truly more likely to stick to your diet. The third thing I like to discuss is prioritizing whole and real foods over processed foods, sugary foods, garbage foods. That's not what you want to be putting in your diet, especially when we're focused on calories and we're really trying to make the maximum. Again, weight loss is tough. We're restricting our calories, so we want to make the most of the calories that we are consuming. Something like a chicken breast is going to be much more filling than something like a protein bar is. Some of the foods I'm prioritizing personally on my journey: chicken, steak, beef, eggs, egg whites, frozen and fresh fruits, vegetables. Some of the best carbs I like are potatoes. Don't load them up with oil, but you'll get a lot of volume for the food as well. Potatoes are good. I know a lot of people like rice, which is also fine. Let's just make sure that we're weighing everything. Absolutely debate this in the comment section if you want, but it's just a reality. You're very unlikely to get fat or overweight while you're eating like chicken breast and eggs and steak. You're just not likely to want to binge on 10 hard-boiled eggs versus something like 10 Oreos that you could eat in 1 second. People are not getting fat from eating too much chicken breast. They're getting fat from eating too much processed and garbage food, and they're not prioritizing the real whole good foods. Another baseline I would shoot to aim for is just 1 gram of protein per body weight at least. Protein is going to be your most filling macro. It's going to keep you full for longer. I'm always prioritizing protein in all my meals. The fourth thing I want to touch on for somebody in my boat or somebody needing to go through a similar journey or just somebody struggling with weight loss, something you're going to have to just embrace is the mindset. You're going to have to embrace that this is going to be a long-term journey. Likely, if you are overweight, if you're severely overweight, this is not something that happened overnight. It's also not going to be something that can get fixed overnight. I think we live in a world of social media and instant gratification, and we just think, you might see my transformations, for example, and think that something like that happened overnight. That absolutely did not happen overnight. Just the same way that it took me a while to get up to 400 pounds and I made a lot of mistakes. I have to compound a lot of improvement and a lot of good days over a long period of time to make up for what you did in the past. So again, it's not something that you're going to be able to fix overnight. That's something that you have to embrace day one. You have to be excited to embrace a long journey. You can't look at it and say, I might have 2 or 3 years. You have to be excited by that and say, like, I have 2 or 3 years to grind. This is going to be a multi-year journey, and every single day I'm going to wake up, fight, and embrace it. And every single day I'm going to get closer and closer towards that goal. And the biggest thing to understand is you're going to have hiccups. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have days where you completely negate the diet. You're going to have days that are not conducive to your goals, something that I like to say, a term that I like to use a lot. And even I do. I have days that are not conducive to my goals. Even filming the content, putting myself under a spotlight. I'm human just like the rest of us are. The big thing is just, again, embracing that it's a long mindset. So if I have a bad day, I just get back up the next day. I have a good, productive day. I don't beat myself up for that bad day. But again, I just get right back on track, understanding it's a long journey. We should probably be looking at progress in terms of like weeks and months, especially on a multi-year journey, if not years, versus stressing about something bad that just happens in a day. Those are just things that you need to brush past and move past. And again, just embrace that this is going to be a long journey. And the final thing I want to talk about is just the math. Just black and white. It's simple. It sucks to hear. It sucks to hear somebody that struggled with losing weight my entire life, but losing weight is extremely, simple, it's easy, it's extremely black and white. Understanding the math and how to lose weight is extremely easy and simple. The hard part is applying that, doing it every single day, being able to stick through a journey. And that's why I focus so much on mindset, where it's a very easy concept to grasp. Eating less and moving more is quite literally how you're going to lose weight. Calories in versus calories out. How many calories are you bringing in? How many calories are you putting in your body on a daily basis? And how many calories are you outputting through exercise, NEAT, sleep, etc. Understand what you're doing now, which quite literally you're eating too much if you're extremely overweight and you're not moving enough. And you just literally need to flip it on your head. You need to start moving more with the 10K steps a day, and you need to start eating less. Now, I think eating less is the biggest challenge. It's understanding how to get in a deficit, understanding what a deficit is. I think this is what kind of shies and scares a lot of people away. Be a ton of resources online. You can play around with online calculators. Some of the better tools will offer things like body fat percentage, although you might not be able to estimate that on your own. But I would just play around. You use a bunch of the different calculators, see what output based on your information. You can type in your height, weight, and you're just trying to find out what your maintenance calories are. On a daily basis, how many calories do you need to maintain your function? And then from that number, we can research more. You're going to be able to pick a healthy deficit to be in. I would recommend, again, if you're severely overweight, probably starting with a deficit of about 500 calories and going from there. So if you're in maintenance, you look up and your maintenance has 3,000 calories. You can subtract 500 from that a day. And now to your baseline to start losing weight would be about 2,500 calories. So you're eating 3,000 to maintain. Now you're dropping that. That's your deficit. You're taking 500 calories out. Now you're eating 2,500 calories a day. You're doing the intermittent fasting. You're doing the 10,000 steps a day. And once you get on a path like that, when you're in a deficit, you start to see yourself losing weight. It literally just becomes a matter of repeating that day over and over and over and over and over again. And booking wins. You have a great day. When you have a great day, you should just be waking up thinking, how can I repeat that tomorrow? And the next day and the next day and the next day. And again, things will come up, distractions will come up, parties will come up. You will get thrown off your journey, but the biggest thing is just getting right back on it. Understand weight loss journey should be evaluated in weeks, months, years, rather than days. So do not beat yourself up over the bad days. Something I've also discussed in shorts with understanding a deficit and tracking your calories is literally tracking your calories. You need to get an app, either MyFitnessPal. I use Lose It personally. I like the interface. There's quite literally tons of them. You can just look around. There's tons of great resources out there, and you're literally just going to weigh and track your food. If you do not own a food scale, they're like $10 on Amazon. You must get a food scale. If you're serious about losing weight, if you're watching this video and you would like to go on a weight loss journey, and you're gonna try to do it without a scale, you're gonna try to guess the calories, you're going to try to guesstimate your sauce and all this stuff, you have no chance. And honestly, in my opinion, you shouldn't even get started. This is something for me personally that's just been non-negotiable. I've tried to not track. And even somebody with tons of experience, I've dieted, I've had failed diets, I've been doing this tracking stuff for years. Like, I have a pretty good baseline of what calories are in food. And sometimes when I weigh, still very far off. It's impossible to be accurate if you're not actually tracking and weighing everything. And I'm talking the sauces, your honey, your ketchup, stuff that you put in your coffee. You need to be weighing and tracking every single thing so that your deficit is accurate. Because I think a lot of people think that they're in a deficit, they're tracking, but they're only semi-tracking. They're only tracking what they want, or they're forgetting to track things. You need to be honest with yourself. Again, this is extremely black and white. It's math. It's very transparent. If you're lying to the calculator, you're going to get the wrong answer. But as long as you're truthful, as long as you're honest and open with yourself, and you're really taking it seriously, and you're tracking your calories, it just becomes a matter of just repeating this day after day after day. Something to also watch out for is if you are successful and you do start losing weight, your maintenance calories are going to start dropping over time. You are going to start weighing less, therefore need less baseline calories to maintain itself. So that is something to watch as well. If you lose a bunch of weight and maybe you get in a plateau, that's going to be another future video of mine. But the first thing I would suggest is kind of rerunning that calculation and seeing how much has my maintenance changed. Because somebody like me, what my maintenance was at, almost 400 pounds versus what my maintenance is now at 220 pounds is completely different. Definitely something to keep an eye on, something to be extremely mindful of. But again, I will be pumping out a future video on that one. A plateau, it's something I'm very familiar with as well. And I have some tips on how to get past those. That's it for me, guys. Those are my top 5 tips, the 5 absolute most important things that I feel you need to know if you're embracing a long weight loss journey, if you're on one, if you're struggling with weight loss. These are absolutely my 5 biggest tips. These are the 5 things that help me the most. So if you enjoyed, please drop a comment, follow, subscribe. I've been putting out this type of content and these videos daily. I'm really trying to help and inspire others. This is truly my passion. I just want to be able to help as many people as possible, and I know that I can. So I'm just going to continue to be pumping out these videos, offering the best advice and solutions that I possibly can. I encourage you guys, please, to drop any comments. If you have any questions, please give them a go. I read and respond to all of my comments on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So again, if you're watching this far, please consider dropping me a follow. Thank you guys so much, and I hope this video helps. Until the next one, Jams out. Peace.